Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Danny Danae Show. I am Danielle Danae, aka Danny Danae, and I've got a lot to say. So let's get into it. The workforce has made women masculine. People suck, man. Love yourself and love your person. They don't make men like Denzel no more. Let's talk about it. So, pardon the noise. Goodness, downtown LA. So, I am going to be referencing a lot of scenes from the movie Deja Vu. If you guys have not seen that movie, I don't know where you've been your whole lives, but it's a great movie. It has one of my favorite actors, Denzel Washington. He used to be my top favorite, but then I started watching Anthony Hopkins. Now he's my second favorite, but just as good, just the same. But yeah, just to give you guys a little summary if you haven't seen it already, it's about Denzel Washington plays a cop, and Paula Patton is the woman he saves from being murdered. He goes back in the past to prevent her murder in the future, and yeah, he is able to do that through this technology given to him by the government, FBI, CIA, whatever. So there's three scenes specifically in there that go to this point. The workforce has made women masculine. So I'm gonna say the first one, I think, is when there's three other agents other than Denzel Washington sitting watching this technology where they can see in the past and present day, right? And one of them is a black woman, and when they're watching the past, Denzel Washington's partner gets murdered, unfortunately. And I remember, I'm looking at the three men, how they react to him getting murdered, and Denzel Washington, how he reacts, and then the woman's reaction. And it's completely night and day. She's over here crying. The guy next to her is rubbing her back, trying to make her feel a little bit more better. But Denzel, he doesn't cry. He's sad. And this is someone who he's known a long time. They've been partners for years, close. But you can't help but notice this night and day, and that the woman is obviously more emotional. And yeah, I think, when women experience things they're not meant to experience, it makes them hard, and even though in the moment we're softer and we're emotional, like I said, she clearly was reacting the way women naturally react when they see somebody murdered. Stuff like that, it just makes you, it shows you the worst things about life, and we respond differently to it than men do. And we're not supposed to see all the horrible things in life. We're not supposed to create that hard shell around us. We're supposed to be soft and think the world is the greatest place to live in, or earth, at least. And when you experience, like I said, when you experience that constantly, you start to develop the traits of a man, and men don't like that. You'll hear all the time that men want a soft woman, or a woman who is not experienced, and that's why they usually want them younger, because when you're young, you haven't experienced the world yet. You're green to a lot of things, and men love that because they want to be able to show you things in the best light. They don't want you to see the hardships they face every day. They don't want you to see stuff like death of a complete stranger. Like, okay, mind you, I get it. Death happens. It's a part of life, with your loved ones, acquaintances, and, associates, whatever. But when it's unnecessarily shown to you in the most brutal way possible, it's just unnecessary. It creates this unnecessary, defensive, just look on the world. I don't know how else to say it. And so that's one scene. Like, women don't need to be dealing with that, right? It definitely creates a hard, tougher mentality that's hard to leave at work when you're coming home. And another one is, there was a scene where Denzel Washington was treated like nothing. Literally, it was two different scenes. I'm gonna get to the other one, but initially, he walks up to the FBI, CIA. They're also on the case, and he's asking who's in charge, like what's going on. It's like it's like he's just asking to kind of be included in information, and they're just like, who are you? What do you want? What do you need? Looking at him sideways, and it's just crazy. I'm gonna get more into that on the second point, but women are meant to feel appreciated, and we value it way more than men. I think men like to feel appreciated, but they realize, their value comes with them being valuable in some way, where women, we're just kind of born with our value, especially beautiful women. Whoever says otherwise is a complete liar. But we need that constant reassurance in the world. And, and we don't get that in the workforce. And, to constantly be reminded that you're not as important as maybe a man or, a colleague, or just seen as a joke in general, it just messes you up. It messes you up, man. And there were multiple instances in that film where, people were kind of looking at him sideways. Some people would acknowledge Denzel was smart in his role. Because you kind of had to acknowledge it. It was undeniably shown. But for the most part, a lot of them thought they were better than him, no matter how smart he was. And, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to go through life like that. And men deal with hard stuff. I know they do. I know my dad did. My dad was in the military. My dad used to act a little bit. He used to do real estate, all jobs where you got to deal with people, man, like straight up, and, put your life on the line for people. So yeah, man, that's enough. Yeah, like women aren't meant to, experience like the losing of partners, people that you really, really care about on a day-to-day, like maybe not on a day-to-day, but more often than not, or losing somebody other than your husband. It's just like like I said, it gets you cold. It makes you not want to open up in life, not want to be vulnerable to anyone. It could, because you're so scared. It creates this fear that you're going to lose them, rightfully so. But it's not worth it, man. Like dying for your partner is something that women got to experience in certain job fields. Like I said, cops. What's another kind of maybe a firefighter even. It's like there's a reason why men went out to war and then left their women at home, and that was like a norm thing. That was a normal thing, and it was a respectable thing, because if the dad dies, as long as he went home, a lot of the guys, when they come home, when they get their leave, they get to business. They try to make a kid as quick as possible, and then they go back another 6 months or a year, whatever it is, because he knows the moment he dies, he still has the woman to have his kid, raise his kid. And yeah, it's just a different dynamic, where it's the kid is going to be okay. Mothers are nurturing, they're teachers. Men are providers and protectors. So it worked out. Whereas, if the woman wants to go off to war and die and leave her husband at home, it's like, if they didn't have kids already, there's no having kids now, and if they do have kids, it's just, kids need their mother. And yeah, he could find another wife, but with her being gone, it's just like there's nothing to leave back. There's nothing to leave there. But men, they leave their legacies. They leave their honor. It's just a different dynamic. I know you can kind of spin the block and be like, oh well, it's just as horrible if a woman leaves the family if a man does. You can say that, but I don't know, me witnessing my dad being gone as much as he was, and also my mom's an environmental engineer, being gone, I think it would have definitely, just from my personal experience, been way harder for me to have lost my mother than my father. Even though I strongly believe like the dynamic and relationship between the kid of the opposite sex, or the parent of the opposite sex with the kid, is a little stronger, but when it comes to raising a family, that's the mother's real priority. And it when you don't have that motherly structure in your home, it hurts your family way more so than a dad leaving. It just does, and that's just how life is, But anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Let's move on to the next point. People suck, man. Love yourself, love your person. I can't say this enough. Back to people sucking. Let's talk about this specific scene in Deja Vu. So there was a scene where the CIA, the FBI, I forget whoever they were, but the higher ups that Doug reported to with this information. There was a scene where they were talking about all the stuff they needed to know. This is after the bomb exploded. They're trying to get, the make and model of the car that the bomb was in, and they're trying to figure out how long it's going to take to get all this information. And the agents come back, they're saying it's going to take months, maybe sooner, maybe not. It's unpredictable. Just because all the evidence got lost underwater and all that other stuff. And yeah, you could clearly see there was stress in everybody's faces, because it's just like, yo, we want to give people answers. We want to, give the grieving families some peace of mind and know, we got the guy and all this other stuff. But yeah, they're stressed, and then it cuts into Denzel walking in, and literally in it had to be less than 2 minutes, he gives them evidence that would have taken months for them to find on their own in minutes. All that they needed, or a lot of it. And I remember them just responding. They were just like, okay, we'll look into it. Thank you. No, thank you. It's just crazy. No, thank you. No, oh my goodness. You literally just solved so many problems we were just literally talking about. No, nothing. Just like, okay, thanks for this. Acting like they kind of already knew what he was gonna say, and that it wasn't, that important. Like he was just, backing up things they already had in theory already. And it just was so mind-boggling, because it was just like, yo, and he kept it cool. I think that Denzel was a smart cat, right, in this movie, and he's just a smart person in general. But in this movie, it's like he had to have known when he came up in there with some very important information. Or even if he didn't, like, it's just a courteous thing to say thank you. You would think, when somebody gives you something that is very important to your case. But yeah, it's just, and then I also thought about it, and I was like, well, that's how I would I'd take it to another level with the disrespect, I feel like, because I'm a woman. I think men read men differently and read situations differently, and he knew not to be all upset, not to be all emotional about them not saying thank you. Like, that's, he's like, that's my job. He's like, I'm meant to be resourceful, and I don't always get a pat on the back, but I just do it because I'm a man. That right there is why also men need to be in the workforce and not women. Because if I was in that situation, like I said, I would have reacted emotionally, maybe not directly to him, but my thoughts would have been pondering for hours about this instance, and it would have eaten me alive. But yeah, that goes back to my point. Women dealing with men like that you think they're nothing and don't appreciate it, like, again, it makes you hard. Back to my point, people suck. It's just like, yeah, people will play in your face like you're not valuable, like you're not worth anything, knowing dang well you are. And it's just a big old joke. Trust me, I know how that is. I live in Los Angeles. I'm a model. I get rejected every day. I get told, I don't get told I can be replaced, but it kind of goes without saying, in a second, because every pretty girl wants to be a model. So yeah, it creates this, and it's created this tough exterior where I also have to be my own agent. At times I have to negotiate my own rates, and I have to be tough in that role. But when it came to my personal relationships, it was hard for me to leave that at the door at work and then come home and be the soft, sweet, feminine woman to my man. So I had to really understand and learn that, I can turn it off. I can turn it off, or I need to choose to just be only feminine in the home. Because when you get hard like that, it makes your life hard in general. Like I said, especially with relationships. And you don't want to live that way. You don't want to live that way. And you want to be soft, and you want to be loving, and, not be naive, but, not as invested in the horrible things in the world. Excuse me. You want your kids to see you in the best light, and see you and think, the world is not as bad as it is. The world's bad enough. You want to be that light for your kids or your future kids. So yeah, you got to find your tribe of people. You got to find your one husband. I made this post. I was like, when I get married, it's probably just going to be just me and him. We're probably going to get married somewhere very private, maybe only invite my parents and my sisters, but maybe not even that, and just have our kids and be in our own circle. Because when you allow people to be in something so sacred, it can get so messy. And especially with your family, it's like, it feels like you're obligated to let them in, right? Because they're your family. But if they're toxic, you gotta let them go, man. If they don't appreciate you, you gotta let them go. And then people at your job, it's so mind-boggling that so many women go to work and are like, yes sir, whatever you need sir, da, da, da. And then when it comes to their man wanting something, they're all hesitant. And I get it. You're exhausted from doing what your boss needs to be done every second of the day. It's exhausting dealing with people you don't like necessarily, but have to work with. But your husband, significant other, whoever he is, he shouldn't have to pay the price for that. And you shouldn't be lashing out at him because of, a workforce you chose to be a part of. I saw this viral post. It was like, you'll be a slave to your boss, but not a slave to your husband. Somebody who doesn't give a damn about you, that'll fire you on the spot. You'll do anything for this man, but won't make your husband a sandwich. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. Love the people who love you and build them up as much as you can. Because like I said, this world is hard. It's tough, man. Trust me. I know. It's like I had to really push myself to smile every day, because I know how messy life can be, Hollywood can be. But, when I have the faith in God and I have faith in myself, and, you really got to love yourself. So I also put love yourself, then love your person, because you really got to love yourself before you can really love anybody else, I really feel like. And once I started to love myself, the right people came into my life, and I was content on being, just by myself. Whereas before, I always had to be out. I always was seeking validation, because I couldn't seek it within myself. I was seeking it from others. But yeah, man, it's a 10 times more lonely place to be when, you feel like you don't fit in, and you're trying so desperately hard to, but it doesn't work. And you're looking for, like I said, validation from others, when you really should be seeking God in that time of need. But yeah, stop preaching to the choir, Danielle. Stop preaching to the choir. But yeah, you'll realize, and thank God I realized it, I think at a pretty early age, that, when you really experience how people are and how cruel people can be, and, that people are evil, but also people are going through their own struggles. So it's like you have empathy, you have sympathy, but you got to remove yourself from toxic situations, period. But yeah, there are some great people out there. There's great friendships. I envy those people who had 10 plus year friendships. I've never had that my whole life. Only 26, but I don't have friends from my childhood. But for the most part, let's talk about the majority, not the minority. it's just great to get your own little circle and raise your own little tribe, because the world is so divided with politics, with society and the economy, all being a bust. So yeah, find your circle, raise your kids. I know it's probably gonna piss a lot of people off that you secluded yourself, but you gotta do what's best for you, even if people don't like it sometimes, right? And last point, they don't make men like Denzel no more. Sure don't. They don't make men like Denzel no more. It's so unfortunate. Yeah, because men are today, are emotionally unstable, are selfish. What else did I put up here? Impulsive. Like I said, it was just so admirable to see throughout that whole movie. Denzel got up and there was one scene where he got up and was screaming for these people that ran this technology that allowed them to see in the past, and they were lying to him saying it was video surveillance footage, but really they were looking to the past, and he was like, no, tell me the truth, motherfucker, tell me the truth. That, I think, it was a little let go of his emotions, but understandably so. When people lie straight to your face and ask for your help, it's disrespectful, to say the least. But throughout the whole but pretty much other than that, throughout the whole movie, he was, he wasn't super out of control with the way he responded to things. He kept a stoic response in all his actions. Like I said, with constant disrespect. Even Paula Patton questioning him about his every move. I feel like at the end, that's another thing. Like, women, I hate when women just this man just saved your life and you're over here questioning his moves, and it's just like, girl, just trust him. Like, I don't even get it. Like, trust, like, men like Denzel, I wouldn't question anything. I would just go along with it, because that's a man that knows what he's doing, so it's just like, but anyway, just to be so smart about how to move with people, how to deal with people, how to get what you want out of people, when to say something, when to not say something. That takes a lot of skill, a lot of wisdom that a lot of men today lack. And that's why a lot of women don't respect them, because it's just like, you're not showing traits that are respectable that used to be shown in men and aren't today. Men are weak. Men are sensitive, and like I said, emotionally reactive to every little thing. Excuse me. And it's a turnoff. It's like, dang. I was like, dang. Just watching the Denzel movie, I just wanted to. That man is fine. He was fine. I remember I first fell in love with Denzel Washington when I saw him in The Preacher's Wife with Whitney Houston. That's when I fell in love with his looks. But when I watched Deja Vu, that's when I fell in love with his acting. And I realized that, like, this man is really talented. When a man makes you believe anything that you're not even going through, it's just, you hear them speaking, you feel like you can relate, just because the way they're portraying it makes you, it's relatable in some way, shape, or form. That is true talent. And that's what a true man showcases to his significant other. Like, men and women are from two different worlds. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right? So when a man is wise enough to break down something in order for a woman or his woman to understand things from his world, to now understand it from her world, that is gorgeous. It's just great, and it works. It's so admirable, Denzel being with his wife for however many years, a long time, and it's just like, he's doing what he needs to do. He's a good man. No woman sticks around that long, especially today's age, with a man that doesn't have a plan, doesn't have a purpose, isn't an overall good man. And Denzel, I truly believe, is all those things. And same with Anthony Hopkins. I don't know if he's still married or not. I have to look it up. But if he's not, What's up? No, I'm just playing. I was just playing. Anthony Hopkins is so much older now, but I always think back to him in what's the movie? Lord, I keep drawing a blank with this movie every time. Someone asked me about it the other day too. Meet Joe Black. Classic. Just you realize neither one of these men, Denzel Washington or Anthony Hopkins, have played like a weak role or a role that, made them look, I'm trying to find another word other to use than weak. Maybe not so impactful, so to speak. Like, I feel like even when, Anthony Hopkins wasn't the main role and Denzel Washington wasn't the main role, he was still memorable, so it was an impact in that way just alone. I remember Denzel did an interview with somebody, and I remember he got offered a slave role and he turned it down, and I don't know I think he said it was somebody that came to him and it was like, and told him, he's like, do you want people to remember you for this role only? Because they will. I think it was earlier on in his career. He wasn't as big yet, but he was like, if you do this, people are gonna typecast you into the slave role. And he was like, do you want that? And he said no, and he didn't do the movie, pardon me, and rightfully so. Now, all the roles Denzel Washington has played, the grieving father, the crooked cop, what else has he played? Lord, I'm drawing a blank. Y'all get the picture. And now he's remembered for all these stronger roles, whereas if he played a slave, he would have been put into that more vulnerable kind of role. So yeah, man, bring men like Denzel Washington back. We miss them. I feel like I'm speaking for a majority of women when I say this. But yeah, it's the wisdom, the wit. Women appreciate that so much. And we're in awe of that, especially in today's time. So if you're that guy, you're gonna do well in life. Trust me. If it's not going so well right now, you're gonna find your person. Trust me. Because the best of women are just naturally drawn to that. And obviously the toxic ones are too. But you'll have that, you being the person you are, you'll have that discernment to know the good from the bad, and who's right and wrong. So yeah, and if you're not that, I encourage you to aspire to be like that. Do the work now, because it's priceless. Those type of men, they're rare. They're rare. And man, gosh, what a man. But it's so funny. I shot I shot the show yesterday. I came earlier this morning at 2 a.m. I was coming from a loungy area last night, and it wasn't good. I was over here stuttering. I was tired. I had one drink, but I usually don't drink, so it hit harder than it should have. And I was watching back the video later this morning, and I was just like, I gotta shoot this again. So this is me shooting it again. But yeah, I'm glad I did, because this was way better. Even though I was cuter, I had makeup on. I was like, this is gonna be my first video with makeup on. But I don't know, I'll do another one later on. I got a million of these to shoot. But yeah, guys, just a recap. Like I said, the workforce has made women masculine. Women that are in the workforce, really evaluate how you're acting, and make sure if you have a family and a man at home, you're not bringing back those masculine traits in your home. And if you really don't want to do it, leave. If you really acknowledge that it's changing you, you gotta step away from it. I know it's hard to do. I know we need money out here. Times are tough. Man, but there's gotta be something else you can do. Women are so talented. We have so many talents that you can do. Something else that you can do that's not as tough on your psyche. Excuse me. So yeah, think about it, man. And like I said, people suck. They do. But if you have a good person in your life, you have a good man, love on him, invest in him, raise your kids to be the best people they can be. And teach them also that, to not be naive, to be able to see the discernment in people who ain't shit and people that genuinely care for you. It's vital in order to grow. It's vital in order to learn. And lastly, they don't make men like Denzel anymore. They don't. But I know there are some out there. They're just living their lives with their wives. They're taken or just, quiet. They're not on social media. They're not loud. But shout out to those men. And like I said, if you're not one of those men, aspire to be that way, guys. Because even if you're not looking for a relationship right now, it's going to end up for you better in the long term for other things, like in the workplace, friendships. So, yeah. All right. I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. I hope you have a fantastic Monday. And yeah, do something you've never done before. Go out running if you usually don't. Go, to a paint and sip class, women, if you've never been. They're actually really cool. Do hot yoga, something I love. And just start your week off right, okay, if you haven't already. All right, guys, like and subscribe this video if you liked it. Please feel free to comment. Let me know you guys' opinions. I really want to know. I really care. I really do. All right, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, love you guys. Bye.